All right, can we start with the salawat, please? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Really? I mean, everybody's fasting. These are the 10 days, the last 10 days, when you're going to be even more enthusiastic. That's what the whole of Ramadan was for. The 20 were in preparation for these 10. Oh, you did know that? Most of the calls I got today was, it's so difficult now, 4 more. And I'm sorry, 5 more, I don't know what you have, but I'm thinking, are you serious? These 10 days are what Ramadan is all about. The last 10 days of Ramadan, most Muslims will go to i'tikaf, you know that? Which is they take time out to spend those 10 days contemplating about life. And I think we've gone the other way around. Okay, so what I'd like to do today is look at reflections on Ramadan, but before that, I want to do a sort of summary on Surah Al-Qalam. The nice thing is that the children are doing a summary on presentation day, which is not tomorrow, day after. Tomorrow, you've got Khatm Quran, and then the next day, we're going to have presentation, and it's wonderful. I've seen all the scripts, and they're just phenomenal. But we need to have a summary, and I'm hoping that you will have the same sort of summary with every single surah of the Quran. We have a book that we've done with the same buildings, with all 114. Download it. Look at the PDF. Look at it on your phone. Do your own thing. This was just a suggestion for you to be able to look at a summary of each surah. Okay? So we're going to look at Surah Al-Qalam. So the first thing you got to know about Qalam is that surah number 68. Fine? You also know it's the pen. I'm hoping that you will go through the mnemonics, and you can do it whatever way you like. We've suggested something called mnemonics on the website. Look at it. If you sat with me for an hour, I can guarantee you, whether you're 80 or you're 4 years old, you will know the names of the surahs in sequence. 1 hour, that's all I want. Do you want to take up the challenge? Good, great, okay. So after Ramadan, we've still got the Telegram group up. If I put in a request for you to come on a Saturday afternoon, would you be able to manage? Yes? No? Maybe? Perhaps? I'm being serious. And give me just 1 hour, and I promise you, you will know the names of the surahs from Fatiha to Nas in order. Are you good? Great. I'll take you up on it. So I'll tell the admin staff to sort that out. Okay. 68. You've got to know that. You've got to know it's got 52 ayat. You've got to know it's Makki. At that point, you've got to know why it's important to know whether something is Makki or Madani. Right? So out of the 114 surah of the Quran, surahs I call it, because you get upset when I say surah, which is the correct word for plural of surah, so many surah. So if you look at the surahs of the Quran, 114, there's 86 Makki and 28 Madani. If there's so many Makki surahs mean they were revealed before Hijrah. Madani means they were revealed after Hijrah. Makki talk about the why of religion. It is always important to know why. Why am I a Muslim? Why do I pray? What am I doing? In basics, it's about Tawheed, Nubuwah, and Qiyamah. When I say Nubuwah goes with Imamah, Adala goes with Tawheed, and Qiyamah is on its own. So now let me make it a bit simpler. It's about the oneness of Allah, Tawheed. It's about divine guidance, and it's about accountability. So that's 86 chapters of the Quran. Literally 86. By the way, Quran was never revealed as 30 ajza or 30 sipara, as we call it. That was just convenience, so we could finish it in a month. At the bottom of your Qurans, you will see manzil. If you look at the bottom, you'll see it says manzil, plural is manazil, and it's divided into 7 manazil, which means you could finish the recitation of the Quran in a week. Okay? But that was just divided straight down. At the side of your Qurans, you will see like an ayn. Have you seen that? That's called a ruku. There's a number at the top, a number at the tummy, and the number at the bottom. Again, the Quran was sent to a place in Russia. I'll let you find out which place that was. Russia, literally. Okay? And in Russia, the ulama there decided to split the Quran into 540 parts. 27 times 20. Why? Because for 27 days, The Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah recite Taraweeh. And therefore they recite 20 rakats. So they wanted to finish the Quran in 27 days. So 27 times 20 is 540. So the ulama in Russia divided it into 540 rukus. And why is it called a ruku? Because the moment you finish reading it, you go into ruku. It's Taraweeh. You'll have to find out which place in Russia, okay? I'm going to tell you. So this is why those rukus were there. And it was just divided roughly on subject basis. Very, very roughly. The Indians, however, didn't like what the Russians did. So instead of 540, they made it 550 something, okay? As usual. The Indians stole the Arabic numerals. So the Arabs stole the Indian numerals. So when you see things written, they're different scripts. Okay? Anyway, that's a different thing altogether. So now you know Makki and Madani. And it's not revealed in Makkah, it's revealed before Hijrah and after Hijrah. Then when the Madani chapters come, and we've divided them on your maps, you have yellow and green roofs, the Madani ones talk about the how of religions. Once you've understood why, then it's easy. If somebody tells you pray, you're never going to ask any questions. Fast, you're never going to ask, because you already know the why of religion. You're not going to do anything. For example, if you already love your mom and your dad, I won't go into spouses yet, okay? But you already love your mom and dad. If mom says she likes her tea, okay, I like green tea without any sugar. Nobody's going to ask me, but why don't you have sugar and milk? And why don't you have black tea? Because it's based on what they like and you loving them. It doesn't work any other way. It's a very crude example. But in essence, the why of religion should come naturally. So you can imagine, only 28 surah of the Quran is on the why. And yet, we focus more on the how rather than the why. If you asked anybody, why Tawheed? Why divine guidance? Who are they? Okay, another question. If I asked you to chronologically tell me the Anbiya from Adam to Muhammad, would you know them? Who came first and who came last? Well, that's sad. Again, give me half an hour, okay? It's a mnemonic. It's quite easy. You need to know who. If I asked you, did Zakira come first or did Ibrahim come first? Did Yunus come first or did Ilyas come first? And who is Ilyas and who is Ilyas? You don't have to tell me, okay? But again, go on the website. We have a mnemonic that will help. These are good things to know, because then I know, what went on, how did it progress, what happened. So that's a different thing altogether. So Qalam, there you go. That's what you got to know. Now, when we looked at the surahs first, we had them all in an order, 1 to 114. But that was quite difficult, because we needed to know, and I've said this before, I'm just going to go over it. We needed to somehow get the children, your children, my children, and then through the children, moms, as to have an overview of the Quran. So the first thing we did is we looked at the morphology of Medina. When I say morphology of Medina, how did the Prophet plan that city? What did he do? How did he make it? And it's amazing what you read. I couldn't stop reading it. It talks about how, for example, the streets were wide enough so that 2 camels would cross without bumping into each other. So that if a camel was parked at the side, then the 2 would be able to cross as well. I'm just giving you examples. He made sure the industries were all away from the city, so you wouldn't get any pollution. He made sure that the shops were around the mosque. So whenever you went to the mosque 5 times a day, you'd have to go through the shops, and you'd come out through the shops, so they'd never lose out on business. It was an amazing way of working. You've got stalls up there, for example, at the back. That's part of what he did. If you go to any Middle Eastern country, you will see that around the mosque there's all the souks, because that's how business was kept. The graveyards were near the mosque, so when you went, you would pass by and you would say salam to them. Right? But anyway, picking on that, we devised Quran City. And I'm not going to go over the whole lot. I just want to make you look at huruf al-muqatti'at area. Because 29 chapters of the Quran begin with cut words. Huruf al-muqatti'at, it's easy. I know muqatti'at is not similar to cut, but at least you can remember that. It's those letters, the fawati, the surahs that start with the opening that are letters, right? So 29. And so we put 3 in singles place, or you can call it just singles, right? There's 3 of them. Qaf, Sad, and Nun. Sad is 38, Qaf is 50, and Nun is 68. And it's good to know, at least you know these 3. It's a beautiful surah, Qaf, by the way. Okay, this is how we remember how Qaf is 50. What rhymes with Qaf? Half. And what is 50%? Half. So surah number 50 is Surah Qaf. And it's just little ways of trying to remember what it's all about. So now you know Qalam. You also know that Qalam begins with Noon. And Noon was the first huruful muqatti'at that was revealed. And it, in order, if you put it in arranged order, it is the last one. So first in chronological order and last in arranged order. There must be something to it. There is, but we don't have time to go through all that. And Noon, you know, the moment you think of Noon, you're thinking of the pot of divine energy. And when I talk of a pot of divine energy, I'm talking about the energy that you have, that you draw from Asma al-Husna. And you use the pen of life, because you and I write our own destinies. There is no excuse like, my mama didn't teach me, and my Quran teacher was like this, and it's not my fault, and I got too much to do. Baloney. Okay? Sorry, I'm trying to be as unrude as possible. There's no excuse. Nobody can say that I had to do this and I couldn't do this. You can. You can find time to understand. So the pot of energy, you write your own life, you make your own destiny. You choose what you want to do. That's why you and I were given free will. And the only way to progress is that when the Prophet said, تَخَلُّقُ بِأَخْلَاقِ اللَّهِ, adopt in yourself the akhlaq of Allah, is by filling that pot with Asma al-Husna. And I mentioned this right in the beginning. You've got 52 weeks, is it 54? 52 weeks till next Ramadan. I'm trying to think how many weeks are left. At least by then we will know some Asma al-Husna. So this starts with Noon. When you look at the surah, you've got to know its focus. So you know the focus of this surah is, number 1, the Prophet had the best way of dealing with other creation, other human beings. That's why it's known as Husn al-Khulq or Khulq. وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَىٰ خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. So if he is my role model, if Quran says, لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ, if for you in the Prophet is the best example, then to be able to follow his sunnah, my first job, my first task is not anything else but to see how I behave with other people. You know, the companions of the Prophet used to put stones in their mouth, pebbles. I mean, dangerous. Don't do that because you might swallow them, right? But they used to put pebbles in their mouth, so before they spoke, they had to think. Sometimes we say things without even thinking. I was coming in the car with somebody today, and we were talking about our grandchildren. That's your children, okay? Because they're all our grandchildren. And when you look at grandchildren, one thing we notice, and we notice this as teachers, is that with this wonderful thing called positive parenting, don't look at me like that, okay? You forget that there is something called manners. And there's something called how you talk back to an elder. It's not funny. It's not called assertive. It really isn't. There must be a level of being able to speak. It's awful when a child of 1.5 or 2 years old comes and says something to their grandma or their grandpa or whatever, which just doesn't sound right. And the parents go, oh, how cute. Really? Are you serious? It's not cute. It's really not cute. And it's up to you as parents to be able to start it from that age. You can't say these days children are more assertive or it's good for them to be like that. No, it isn't. It really isn't. There has to be a level of discipline that has to be applied. I am all for your positive parenting, okay? Acha bacha. Yeah. I hear it all the time. I'm good. but there has to be a level of discipline. And with the Prophet, that's what it is. To follow him, it's how you deal with creation, what you do, right? By the way, it's okay to tell children off, you know that? You can't hit them. You shouldn't ever touch them in a way where you're going to hurt them. Definitely not. But to be able to tell them is your duty as a parent. Because otherwise you'll raise spoiled brats. And we have them at workshop and madrasa. And believe me, it is not fun. Okay? So the first part of this focus is khuluqin azim. The second part of the focus is it actually tells you, in the second section, it tells you the sort of people that don't have divine guidance, that will not follow divine guidance. And you find two things stand out. I'll give you the rest when we go to the sections. Arrogance and selfishness. These are the two things that stand out. The bit about this is me and about being selfish. Then you find, obviously, you've got the bit about Jannah, and then you've got accountability. Each child, each person has to be accountable. And finally, the Quran and the Prophet, that's it. That's what you need to follow. In other words, for us, the Ma'sumin, the M14, and the Quran. So you need to know the focus of the surah. So I'm going to go back to it again. In a nutshell, Surah Al-Qalam talks about, number one, how to deal with creation, follow the Prophet. Two, what sort of person what personality is that which doesn't follow divine guidance? And finally, you'll not get anywhere without the Quran and the Masumin. Are you good with that? Even if you remember those three, that's fine. Then, additionally, you will know that the first story of the Quran was told in Surah Al-Qalam. And that story is totally about selfishness. Totally. It's about how I don't want to share. Full stop. That's it. Okay. So now each surah is divided into sections, and we divided that into 6 sections. So the first section up there tells you the status of the Prophet. It did not say that the Prophet was knowledgeable, it did not, although he was. It did not say anything about him. All it said, وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَىٰ خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. Phenomenal. Nothing else mattered but how he made another person feel. Quran describes him as rahmatul lil alameen. It's all about kindness. That's all it's about. How you deal with somebody else. You don't know what they're going through. All they need from you is a smile, full stop. I understand. I may not agree with what you're doing, but I understand. I understand you're hurting, so I'm going to be here for you. Very many times, get people who call and who will say, I can't talk to the community because the moment I say something, it'll go everywhere. Really? They should be the people who will help you and listen to you. But we go out because we're scared to come back to the community. And that doesn't make sense at all. Okay. So, section 1, how you make other people feel. And the Prophet made everyone feel good about themselves. And it always started with kindness. Literally kindness. You can teach your kids to be kind, and you're not going to learn by saying be kind. It's your example that will take it through. I mentioned Eid is coming, and many people give money for Eid. I'm not sure why, but hey, everybody has their own way of dealing with it. If you're going to give your children money, don't give them something which they can share. So if you're giving them £10, give £10 coins. Then they will put £1 in. But if you give them a £10 note, it's very difficult to give that away. It's not easy. It's not fair on them. So 10 coins. Now, at this age, I realize why my grandmother gave us so many coins. So she'd give us this bag full of new coins, literally new coins. I used to wonder why, before Ramadan, she'd have this big pot and she'd be washing all these coins. And I'm thinking, what is she doing? But that's what she was doing. The new coins just made a difference, okay? These days you get these wonderful machines that you stick it in, put some liquid in. Oh, you don't know about them? Oh, I'm trying to think. Ultrasonic, some sort. They're available on Amazon. You put them in and the coins are shiny. My grandkids love shiny coins. Anyway, so first thing, how you can make somebody feel. Kindness, first section. Forget about everything else. Kindness, okay? Second section is who does not follow divine guidance. And if you look at all the things, qualities of those who reject the Prophet. If you looked at the building, it will tell you they swear, they belittle others, they're mean, they're hurtful, they're arrogant because they think they've got wealth and children, all that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, The first section was kind. The second section is mean. The moment meanness steps in, there's something wrong. And meanness comes from two things: arrogance and selfishness. The third story is about the third section is about selfishness. So you can see how it comes in. Fourth is beautiful. I love the way Allah breaks this up, because He tells you, you can have Jannah, don't worry. If you are not mean, if you are not arrogant, you've made it. You've got Jannah. And Jannah begins here, because you say, Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanatan wa fil akhirati hasana wa qina adhaban nar. Surah Al-Baqarah says, when they will be given food in Jannah, they will say, but we had this in the world as well. It didn't mean it was the same dish. It's talking about the feeling of eating it. I'm not sure about you, but if my mother made something, it tastes different from what somebody else made, even though it might be the same recipe. That there is something there, okay, and I miss that. But so, fourth is Jannah. The fifth one talks about, you may think you've got away from it here, but there is a day of judgment. There is accountability. And finally, the sixth section talks about Quran being a reminder. So it started off with the Prophet, it ends off with the Quran. And these are the two things that you need to stick to. So qalam, put that, if you can think about those 6 sections in the same way, you will do the same with every single surah. Are you comfortable with that? Okay. Right. Now, what I'd like to go through today, with the little time I have left, is a reflection on the month of Ramadan. So these are some of the things that you might want to ask yourself. Did fasting, was it just hunger and thirst? Or was it a bit more? Did I stop lying? Did I stop shouting at the kids? Did I stop screaming? Did I stop gossiping? Did I stop looking at social media and swearing at it? I don't know. Did I put filters on social media? Don't look at me. Okay? What did I do? Did I do all that? Was it just hunger and thirst? That's a question everybody has to answer for themselves. Were the du'as ritualistic? And I've said this throughout the days I've been with you, that as a Khoja, we read really well, but we pare and pare and pare and pare and pare. The du'as, what happens with iftitar? Every year I promise that this year we're not going to have the whole iftitar, just one section and go through the meanings. But I think that was pre-COVID. COVID, we tried to do it online. Maybe next year, inshallah, you will probably, some of you will do the program, and maybe you'll bring that up. But are the du'as a ritualistic recitation? I believe they are. Even here, even us when we have children, 4:30 when we recite them, and Akila, you do a phenomenal job at arranging it. Really, honestly, it's not easy to arrange that. Whether you do that for the afternoon, and then we have those who do it at night, but is it a ritualistic recitation? And yes, we might have it on there, or you might have it in your books, you might have the translation, but the translation does not do justice to the du'as that are recited. And du'a is a conversation between me and my Rabb, right? Okay. So, come the 1st of Shawwal, some of you might have it on Friday, some of you might have Eid on Saturday. Is it back to normal? And what is normal? Is normal not reciting Quran? Is normal not coming to the center? Is normal not meeting each other? Okay, normal is not fasting. I get that. Okay. But what about everything else that went with it? What about that 30 days of a habit that came? I mean, will you see each other? Will you get together at least once a month? Okay, once in 3 months. Will you get your children together? Will they meet all the other kids? How does that happen? No, I'm not arranging it. You are. Your kids, you do it. Do you want it? No, I don't know. And why not? Why wouldn't you want to do this once a month so the children can get together? Call the teachers. I'm sure they'll all agree to come. And it'll be phenomenal. But I will leave that up to you. What about the sanctity of the month? You still have that sanctity, that feeling of Ramadan? Or is it going to go away till next month? These are just questions you ask yourself. And finally, Ramadan was about evaluation and accountability. Am I accountable? Do I think about it all the time? Does it make me feel? Ramadan has this feeling about it. So what happened to that? Okay. So we're going to go to the next slide. And these are just some suggestions I have. I'm sure you will come up with better suggestions than me. So let's go through some of these suggestions that we have, right? I think Because the Prophet said, fast 3 days in a month, 13, 14, 15. And science has proved that the full moon on those days has an effect on your body, because your body is made up of water. You know that. Majority of any doctor will tell you that you are made up of 60, 70% of water, whatever it is. And you know the moon has an effect on tides, has an effect on you as well, and me. And just by fasting those 3 days, you actually reset your immune system. I was diagnosed with lupus in 2004. By fasting and by following a diet that the Prophet recommended. I don't take any medication at all. So it's 2004, this is 2023. And I had the worst form of lupus, which is supposed to attack every part of me. But it's this that has helped, which is 3 days of fasting, and then also fasting on Monday and Thursday. And it does reset your immune system. I'm not saying don't take medication. I didn't say that. Definitely go to your consultants. Definitely make sure you have a word with them. Definitely talk to them. They will talk you through it, and they'll tell you whether you need it or not. But it has a phenomenal effect. I still believe that Tibbe Masumin, which is a medicine of the Prophet, hand in hand with modern medicine, goes really well. Never, ever rely on yourself. Don't say, well, I'm going to throw all the medicine away and follow this no. Doctors are an important part of life. My son is one I know, okay? So make sure you do that. So fast every Monday and Thursday. If not one day, Monday, Thursday, whatever works for you, okay? If you can't do any of that, at least recite a few ayat of Quran every single day. Just keep a Quran near your musalla. Just turn the pages. 2 lines, 3 lines. The days the kids are asleep, 5 lines, 6 lines. Just recite it. Keep the meaning near it, okay? I think one thing that we can do is pray salah on time. If not any other salah, because Maghrib we know to the second. Ask anybody, when is iftar time? Oh, you know what time it is today. Go on, what is it? There you go. 8:12 and 22 seconds, okay? So 8:12 is namaz. If we only knew that, and 8:12 you go and pray, it's amazing, right? And finally, I'd like to finish with Salatul Layl. I think I've got 2 minutes. 1 rakat, that's all you need. Hamd, and okay, not on your musalla. Do wudu. I'm hoping you do wudu before you go to sleep. Do wudu, get in your bed. Sit on your bed, okay? Because it'll make you guilty. You'll want to go on the musalla. But if you don't want to, sit on your bed. Suratul Fatiha. 3 times, Ikhlas. Falak and Nas. Now the Qunut of Salatul Witr has 7 things. 7. All about forgiveness. The first one is the Subhan of Allah. You know that? La ilaha illallah al-alimul halim. La ilaha illallah al-aliyul azim. Subhanallah rabbis. You don't know it? Just say Subhanallah. 1. Yes? Second thing is istighfar. Astaghfirullah rabbi wa atubu. You all know that. 7 times? 1 time? Whatever you want to do. If you can do it 1 time, do it once. 7 times. Third thing, forgive everyone. Allahumma gfir li kulli al-mu'minina wal mu'minat. If you want to make a list, make a list. If you don't, it's as easy as that. But remember 7 things, okay? The 4th thing is istighfar for everyone. Right? 5th thing, anybody? Hada maqamu aidhu bika minan nar. 6th, al-af. Al-af, 300 times. Okay, do it 3 times. And the last one, Rabbik firli warhamni wa tub alayya innaka anta tawwabur rahim. Astaghfirullah rabbi wa atubu ilayh. That's fine. And then your ruku and your sujood, khalas. And then maybe one day you'll do 3, and maybe one day you'll do 11, and then you will read Dua al-Hazin. It is just phenomenal. Really, really phenomenal. So make it a habit. You can't wake up before Fajr, that's okay. Read it before you go to sleep. Just make it a habit. 40 days, just 40 days. And the effect is just phenomenal. Try today. Today is the 27th of Ramadan, tonight, right? It's one of the odd nights and the night of Qadr. So start today. So tomorrow, inshallah, Khatmul Quran, Wednesday presentation. I'll see you again on Thursday, inshallah, here. And then there's no class on Friday because some of us have Eid and some of you will have Eid on Saturday. You good? Okay, let's end with the Surah Al-Fatiha. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين لي خمسة أطفي بها حر الوباء الحاتمة المصطفى والمرتضى وأبناهما والفاطمة. Can we stand for ziyarah, please? السلام عليك يا رسول الله، السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدة النساء العالمين، السلام عليك يا خديجة الكبرى، السلام عليك يا حسن المجتبى، السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي علت بفنائك. عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين وعلى 9 المعصومين من ذريتك، علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والحجة بن الحسن، أجل الله فرجه وسهل الله مخرجه وذورك. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. اللهم كل وليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائي في هذه الساعة وفي كل الساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا، حتى تسكنه أرضك توعا وتمتيه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.